Hey guys, Fugity here. I wanted to cover a topic with you that I had posted a video about, which revolved around the theme of there being an easy nation, or easier nation for new players to start out with in War Thunder. Now, when I first started, I read a few articles and I saw a few videos in which the USSR vehicles were described as the easiest nation to start out with. And indeed, this is the nation that I started out with when I first got into War Thunder. And although I initially agreed, I kind of changed my opinion a bit, and I'll tell you why. Now, as far as the USSR vehicles, most of the time, most of the points that people bring up when they talk about why they're good for new players is usually three things: the good mobility, decent weaponry, and in some cases, you just have outstanding armor protection, which provides extreme amounts of forgiveness for new players' mistakes. And I think you all know I'm talking about the T-126 when I'm mentioning this. Anyways, all of this still holds true. I'm not disputing these facts. But I recently started grinding the Swedish line, and they have changed my opinion for a few reasons. I'll tell you why. The first and foremost, like the most important thing, is just the gun. The Swedish tech tree starts out with this 37 millimeter gun that you get on a bunch of the vehicles, and it's got really good penetration and really good muzzle velocity. So this allows you to do two things. Number one is, new player, you don't have to know the weak spots. You could literally just point and click, and most of the time you're going to penetrate. So that's number one. You don't have to know the weak spots. It's super easy to use. Number two, as this gun has super fast muzzle velocity, it's extremely easy to hit moving targets. It's extremely easy to hit whether they're moving left or right. It's extremely easy to hit at medium distances. You don't have to compensate too much for elevation for distance. And it just like it was a breath of fresh air when I'm grinding this line. And I remember back to when I was first starting and I had these low muzzle velocity guns. It was super hard to hit anything that was moving. And some distance shots I wouldn't even take because I knew I wasn't going to hit, and I didn't want to give my position away. So that's the first thing, the gun. It's just an awesome gun. Number two is the outstanding gun depression that these vehicles have. So in the Swedish line, the norm is between 10 and 15 degrees of gun depression. So you got a lot of vehicles that have at least 10. Some of the vehicles have 14. Some of the vehicles have 15 degrees of gun depression. This allows you, like, it's completely understated how much flexibility this provides you when you're playing on uneven terrain, or when you've taken a high point and you're trying to shoot at targets that are below you and you don't want to expose as much of your tank. Now, with USSR vehicles, at low tier, the norm is between 6 and 8 degrees of gun depression. Let's be real here. None of the USSR vehicles are known for having good gun depression. That's just not what they're into. And what this causes you to do is, if you're above a target, you have to overexpose your tank. If you want to shoot at somebody below you, you have to overexpose your tank. And usually, like, I don't know how many times I've done this when I'm overexposing my tank to shoot at a target below me, and then somebody shoots me from the side, and then I just go in the corner and cry. The third thing that I wanted to talk about is, with some of those low tier Russian tanks, the armor protection is so good, like so absolutely good, that it kind of allows new players to develop some bad habits. I think we've all been there. We've all been in the T-126, and we go and bully these tanks because we know they can't penetrate us. Now, as we all know, and for new players, hope you realize this, armor becomes less and less relevant. I'm not even talking about, yeah, that's extremely true at the top tier, but I'm not even talking about top tier. I'm talking about just regular medium tiers. Like maybe tiers 3 or 4 where I see a lot of people play. That's mostly where I play. I don't like top tier. But yeah, the armor becomes less and less relevant. So kind of starting the game out by learning to depend on your armor to make plays, it can kind of set in some bad habits that I definitely wouldn't recommend for new players. Now, you'll definitely get punished for this in later tiers if you're trying to use those same tactics that you had before, especially like the BT7 drivers that just get in their vehicle, press W, and go all the way to the corner of the map to try to get some flanking shots. Now, all that said, I definitely want to point out that while I do recommend the Swedish line for starting out, because it's a really good experience, I believe, for new players, there is no quote-unquote bad nation to start with, in my opinion. Some tech trees have their strengths, and all the tech tiers have some strengths and some weaknesses, right? Some are just more challenging than others, but ultimately this can just be a matter of opinion. For example, I hate playing German heavy tanks just because I find them to be highly lacking in mobility. But I mean, I see players making these vehicles work all the time because they've adapted to the playstyle, they've learned to work within the limitations of the tank, and they've learned to, more importantly, highlight its good characteristics and kind of hide its bad ones. So, that said, although I do recommend the Swedish tech tree for new players, I also encourage you to try different vehicles out, different tractors out, so you can figure out for yourself what fits your playstyle based on your own experience with those vehicles. But anyways, yeah, that's about it. Enjoy some of this footage here. Also, I just want to mention that this is a video. If you look at the date on this video, this is a video of me grinding the Swedish line. I'm not out here just seal clubbing. So I did want to mention that. Anyways, that's about it. Laters.
captured, we have the advantage. A little more effort, and victory will be ours.
It's so funny how he's turning this turret like he's gonna try to shoot me. I'm just
Another zone captured, we have the advantage.
Let's check out these stats right quick. Eight targets destroyed. Ooh, I got the ranks don't matter thingamajig. Coolio. FYI, boys, I'm not even stat padding. I'm like legit trying to grind the Swedes. Yeah, I'll show you. See, this is my Swede right here.